Good evening.
Greetings, everyone.
This is Chris
And Lex.
we're back. I think what I wanted to kind of have the topic be for this week, and it is really the week before the election. So we'll have a special podcast, probably from a remote location.
Yes, I'm thinking of that.
I think in some guest, not vocalists, but some guest speakers maybe.
Cameo speakers.
Cameo speakers from a remote location.
But let us not promise too much.
So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I wanted to kind of talk about something that I found interesting to myself, and I want Lex to comment on it for herself. But those of you who follow me on Facebook may have seen my post today where I said that I wanted to spread a couple of different good intentions today. And what those results were for me today. And then get Lex's observations on how she does things for herself. So I guess I should start off by saying what the intentions were.
Yes, do tell us, Chris.
So, today I was like, okay, I'm going to be, my best self, like I always try to do every day. And I wanted to be helpful. I wanted to be of service and in service. And I wanted to be empathetic, and I wanted to be compassionate, and all those things.
And all of these things you actually wrote and posted.
I
right?
wrote out and I posted on my page.
So like kind of double sealing your intentions by actually not just intending them, but publishing them.
Because they do say when you write it out, it's supposed to be like super.
It
like
takes it
stick.
to one more level.
Supposed to super stick. So there I was, and in my work over the last year or so, maybe, and probably going on 2 years now, I've been doing these experiments, and so I felt like, I got this, and I'm going to be able to make it happen. So
make what happen? Your positive
my
intentions that you had then.
Because it's not just good to just be, sitting at a computer behind a keyboard and saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You actually have to do it.
You have to walk amongst the people.
You do. You have to, you can't say, well, I really want to do this, I really want to do that, and then, not do anything. That's not really taking action. So I was challenged today. I was certainly challenged today. And I caught myself a couple times so the universe is actually providing me with opportunities to do this. And in those moments of truth, how am I behaving in those moments of truth? And I have to say,
yes,
that I had to recalibrate myself a few times.
So basically the universe was sort of almost calling your bluff.
The gauntlet has been thrown down, basically.
So you want to be of service and empathetic and kind.
Here you go.
Useful and compassionate.
And
when push comes to shove.
Well, the good news is that I recognize that, these are opportunities.
I think that's wonderful news because it provides for self-reflection.
Yeah, so these are opportunities that I don't know if it's unfortunate. It's probably a telling moment is that am I up for what I'm putting out to the universe? And that is really interesting.
I think that what you just said as a telling moment, because you're absolutely right not to get down on yourself for oh my God, in that situation it didn't turn out I was as empathetic or as of service or all of those good, wonderful aspirations that you posted, that you printed, that you had. And then I think it's telling but not damning when you find that,
I need some work.
sometimes you fall short a little bit. And I don't mean you like Chris, but we all do.
Well,
and so
I do
think
too.
I think it's definitely adds to self-reflection and self-examination.
I think that you're right. And I didn't take it as maybe like damning, but I did take it as, gosh, I'm kind of disappointed in myself. But on the same hand, I forgave myself for that, because it's like at every moment, you have a chance to make a choice.
Well, and I think that starting with the positive affirmations or the positive intentions, that you do take that extra minute to write down on a piece of paper or post on Facebook or even speak out loud begets action. Even if for the longest time all it is words to begin with. You have the thoughts, then you write down the words or you say the words, and then the next step is the action. I think every action, who is it that said that every action starts with a thought, starts with the notion, the idea to begin with. And so, yeah, I think it's wonderful, and I think that it is inspiring to a lot of people.
Well, and I hope to do, be at my best tomorrow. So I start off again tomorrow. Not like Groundhog's Day, because I don't want it to feel like it's another day like yesterday. But how can I change it just a little bit tomorrow so that I can be better?
And to start out every day, like just for today, just in this moment, let me have compassion, or let me have patience, or
let me truly understand what that means when I'm tested. And when I say tested, I'm not resentful of that. And it's not really even a test. It's more of like when the call is answered. Is that right? It's like, okay, so I'm putting that out there. So then when I am asked to be useful
or compassionate
or all those things, like I need to be up for it. And I want to be up for it. I mean, that's the thing. And so, looking inside yourself and really understanding, okay, so why isn't that happening? Or I thought I was ready to do that, but now all of a sudden, when it's put in front of me, it's kind of, ooh, that's...
When a person or a situation that is needful of those things now suddenly is like in front of you needing those things.
Yeah.
Then it's like, well, you're thinking, or I think, it's like, well, it looked good on paper. It looked good on paper. That was my intention.
That sounded good.
Yeah.
But now when faced with actually having to execute it...
It's more of a challenge.
It's more of a challenge.
It is a challenge. But sometimes more than others.
What I do appreciate about it is that it really does give you a moment of self-reflection, I think, and an opportunity to really decide what you're doing in those moments. And I've really tried to be really am trying to practice being more in the moments and not in the past or not in the future.
Or being annoyed by having to be in the moment.
Well, being annoyed is just, I've figured out, just doesn't serve anything. It only serves to derail me further. So
yes,
I may as well have acceptance of the particular moment and move through those moments. And when I accept it, then without judgment, then it becomes not an issue. It's kind of like, yeah, well, that happened. Okay.
Yeah.
now what am I doing?
It kind of takes the poison out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so that happened and we're not going to dwell in that. It's just like, okay, now what are you doing next?
Mm-hmm.
So I would put the question to you and your in your day-to-day?
Well, in my day-to-day things, unlike you, my dear, I don't usually actually publish my intentions. Now, I don't know whether that's me just taking the easy way out and just kind of keeping them as my thoughts. And then I get to like act on them or not because I haven't said them out loud or written them down.
There's no accountability.
Right, sort of. But anybody who knows me would know that I could see Lex doing that. Not with any malintent, but
No.
I recognize when I have been less than the best that I can be, and it never makes me feel very good.
Yeah.
If I lose my patience with somebody, or even with the dog, or and then I just feel very small and very pinched and very pained. And then I've created a situation sometimes where somebody is afraid of me, or the dog is afraid of me, or I'm not accessible to people. So then that creates a barrier.
Yeah.
It just does, and it's never my intention to create a barrier. And then you also have the lesson of where you can dissolving the barrier and making it right. And that in and of itself is a great lesson.
Indeed it
a
is.
Great practice. So I don't know if that answered your question, but
I think so. And I thank you for sharing that, because that's not necessarily easy, but I think for anybody that's listening to it, we can all take some parts of everybody's story.
Yeah, for sure.
And make and strive to do things differently on the next time. And does that changes the sorry, I'm laughing right now because the dog is like pawing at me, but does that change the dynamic in your interaction with who's in your life at the moment? I think maybe it does. And is that helpful? I think maybe it is. So
I think so too. I think that anything that elicits some time for self-reflection, and assessment and learning and growth is helpful.
Yes. So on that note,
keep having your positive affirmations and intentions.
I think that is very important.
Whether you write them or publish them or say them out loud.
I think both are helpful. So to say them as well as writing them, as what I've heard is really good. And if you don't make it the first time, don't give up on it. Sometimes it takes a couple times for the magic to take. And we're all in it together. So we can help each other get better and get to my big thing is like getting to a higher frequency. So we thank you again for listening in.
Thanks for tuning in.
And we will talk to you next week after the election.
Everybody remember to vote.
And this will be one to remember, I'm sure. We're in very interesting times. Bye for now.
Bye for now.